You know, I was looking at the date on our source material for today, January 24th, 2026.
Right, yeah. Very specific.
And it got me thinking about how we usually get diet advice. It's always this timeless, abstract thing, eat more kale, you must fast for 16 hours. But today's source,
Yeah.
it's completely different. It's a log entry.
It's a change log for the human body, basically.
Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into a blog post from qianmeng.org. The title is Notes on Dieting, Part 114.
Part 114. Just
Yeah.
that number alone tells you this is not a fad. This is a long-term project.
Oh, it really is. And the author, this guy Eng, he calls himself an old software plumber.
Yeah.
And if you look at the rest of his site, you see it. Notes on Python, notes on fish keeping, notes on gardening. This is a person who sees the world as a series of systems to be debugged.
Which is such a refreshing way to think about what you're having for lunch. It strips out the emotion and focuses on pure function.
So today, we're diving into Eng's Part 114 to figure out one very specific thing. When the world is practically designed to feed you processed junk, how does a systems engineer hack the menu to find something that actually works?
And the answer he lands on is a traditional Hakka dish called Lei Cha.
Also known as, in English, thunder tea rice.
That's the one. And you should really stick around because by the end of this, you might just find that the best biohack for your modern life isn't some new pill from Silicon Valley.
It's a bowl of green soup from a recipe that's centuries old.
So let's set the stage. Let's talk about what we're calling the software plumber's dilemma. Ang kicks off his post by identifying a major bug in the system.
The dining out paradox.
Exactly.
He talks about the abundance of processed and fast food choices and how, nutritious options are just scarce. It's a real friction point.
And you have to think about it like an engineer. Your requirement is to fuel the system, your body, the constraint. You're not at home, so you can't control the production environment, the kitchen.
So you look at the available inputs, a food court, a delivery app.
And those inputs are, well, let's just say they're not optimal.
Not at all. It's high calorie, low nutrient. It's just dirty fuel.
Ang says finding a healthier meal is one of the most challenging decisions when eating out. And he's not even talking about willpower. It's a logistics
You
problem.
have decision fatigue.
Oh, I feel this every single time I open a delivery app at 7 p.m. My brain is fried. And I have two doors. Door number one, the burger, the fried noodles, tastes amazing, makes me want to sleep for 3 hours.
Right.
Or door number two, the healthy option, which is usually just a sad, overpriced salad that leaves me hungry an hour later.
That is the trap. The tasty unhealthy versus the boring healthy trap. It's a broken loop. And Aang is looking for a third option, a standout choice to break that loop.
Which brings us to Lei Cha. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, if you put a bowl of Lei Cha in front of them, the first thing they will notice is the color.
It is very, very green.
I'm just going to say it. It looks like swamp water. It does not look like your typical Instagram-friendly food. No, it's definitely distinct.
Yeah.
But that color is data. It's telling you exactly what kind of fuel it is. It's signaling chlorophyll, herbs, density.
And the name, Thunder Tea, it sounds so aggressive.
It's an energy drink. Drink the thunder.
Exactly.
But the thunder actually comes from the sound of making it. Traditionally, you use a big ceramic mortar and a heavy wooden pestle, and you grind all the ingredients against these rough grooves inside the bowl. That rumbling, grinding sound, that's the thunder.
So it's not tea like just steeping a bag in water. You're making a paste.
You're making an extraction. You are physically breaking down the cell walls of the plants to release everything, the oils, the aromas, the compounds, before you add hot water. It's a very efficient way to process nutrients. You're kind of mechanically pre-digesting the food.
Okay, so let's get into the code of this soup. The source lists a potent blend. It starts with green tea. Okay, standard enough. But then he lists the herbs, basil, mint, and...
Mugwort, the outlier.
Yeah. I feel like I need to find that in an apothecary shop, not on a lunch menu. What is a software plumber doing with mugwort?
Well, mugwort is fascinating. It's Artemisia vulgaris. It's basically a common weed in a lot of places. It literally grows in ditches. But in East Asian medicine and cooking, it is a powerhouse. It has this very distinct, slightly medicinal, earthy flavor. But the key thing here is bitterness.
Is bitterness good? We usually try to avoid that.
In the context of our modern diet, yes, it's a very good thing. We have almost completely engineered bitterness out of our food. We optimize for sweet, salty, savory. But bitterness is often a biological signal for certain phytochemicals that stimulate the liver and help with digestion.
So when Ang says this soup is for detoxification, he's not just using some vague wellness buzzword.
No, not at all. He's looking at the input-output. Bitter compounds from the mugwort and the green tea, they trigger the production of bile. They kickstart the whole digestive system. It's like running a cleanup script on your server.
A garbage collection protocol for your gut.
Precisely. He specifically says digestion and detoxification. He sees it as utility.
Yeah.
You run this program, your system runs cleaner, it clears the cache.
He also mentions it's packed with antioxidants. We hear that word all the time. Can we just pause on that? Why does a software engineer care about antioxidants?
Okay, think of your body as a machine that's always running.
Yeah.
That process creates metabolic waste products, which we call oxidative stress. It's like rust forming on the gears. Antioxidants are the rust inhibitor. They neutralize that waste so the machine doesn't degrade as fast.
So the green soup is basically rust-proofing for your cells.
A delicious, minty rust-proofing. And think about the other herbs, basil and mint. They're just for garnish. They're main ingredients in that paste. They add that cooling, aromatic quality that balances the bitterness of the tea and the mugwort.
It's such high information food. A fast food burger is low information. It just tells your body, here's sugar, here's fat, store it. This soup is sending all these complex signals, stimulate the liver, cool inflammation, wake up.
And that's just the liquid operating system. We haven't even installed the applications yet.
Right, the solids. Because you can't just live on green soup. The stuff gets poured over rice, but the rice is buried under all these toppings, the crunch.
And the texture is so important. Ang describes an assortment of finely chopped vegetables.
Finely chopped. He's really specific about that.
He is, and it matters for the user experience. If you have big chunks of broccoli, you eat them one at a time. A bite of broccoli, a bite of rice. But when everything is finely diced, the long beans, the cabbage, the sweet leaf, you get a little bit of everything in every single spoonful. It's a distributed network of nutrients.
So let's break those down. Long beans.
That's for texture, the snap. They hold up well in the hot soups.
Cabbage.
Volume, crunch, and it's a cruciferous vegetable. So you're getting those sulfur compounds that, again, support that cleanup script in the liver. It reinforces the soup's whole mission.
And sweet leaf. I'm not as familiar with that one.
Sayur manis, very popular in Southeast Asia. It's a leafy green that, like the name says, has a slightly sweet taste. It's packed with nutrients, vitamin K, vitamin C, and it provides a nice flavor balance to the bitter soup.
The source mentions these supply essential micronutrients and additional fiber. There's that word again, fiber.
The missing link in the modern diet.
Ang seems almost obsessed with it. It comes up a few times.
And for good reason. If you're a software plumber, you know flow is everything. You can't have a clogged pipe. Fiber is what keeps things flowing. Most processed food, the stuff he mentioned, is stripped of fiber. It doesn't freeze well. It changes the texture. It requires you to chew.
It requires effort.
Exactly. Lei Cha is a high-effort meal in the best possible way. You have to chew it. There's fiber in the soup, fiber in the veggies. You're actually engaging with your food, not just inhaling a slurry of calories.
And speaking of chewing, peanuts.
Yes. The toppings usually have roasted peanuts and firm tofu.
Which brings up the protein question. I notice Ang doesn't mention any meat. No chicken, no pork.
No, he doesn't. And he specifically says the dish is a satisfying option for vegetarians.
Which is usually just code for we took out the good part and charged you the same.
Usually, yes. But here, the protein is built into the architecture. The tofu is like a sponge for that soup. It soaks up all the flavor. And the roasted peanuts. That's the master stroke.
Why are they so important?
Fat and crunch. You have this bowl of mostly water and vegetables. Without fat, you wouldn't feel full. The peanuts provide that savory, fatty hit that tells your brain, okay, this is a real meal. It triggers your satiety signals.
So it's a balanced nutritional profile. That's his phrase.
It absolutely is. You have structure from the protein, maintenance from the antioxidants, and flow from the fiber. It's a full stack meal.
But every system needs its power source. Let's talk about the rice.
The foundation.
The motherboard.
The source says it's served over white rice, standard. But then Ang, being the tinkerer he is, adds this little note in parentheses. He says, even better if we switch to brown rice. Classic optimization. That's the engineer in him. Just tweaking the default settings.
Why is that the upgrade for him?
Well, white rice is fast energy. It's basically a sugar rush. It spikes your blood glucose and then you crash. For someone who probably sits at a computer all day, that crash is fatal to productivity.
The dreaded 2 p.m. slump where you just stare at the screen.
Exactly. Brown rice changes the fuel release. It's a complex carb, The hull is still on, so it burns slower. It keeps your energy stable for hours. Plus, you're getting even more fiber.
So if you get the Aang build, the
Yeah.
brown rice version, you have a meal that is almost entirely functional.
It's a slow-release energy capsule packed with preventative medicine.
And yet he calls it a standout choice for people who are just slightly conscious of their health. I love that phrasing, slightly conscious.
It's very forgiving. It's approachable.
It is. He's not saying you have to be some kind of monk. He's not saying you have to weigh every gram of food. He's just saying, hey, if you're paying even a little bit attention, this is just the logical choice.
It lowers the barrier to entry. You don't need to understand the molecular biology of mugwort to enjoy it. You just need to know it works. You run the program, you get the result.
Okay, let's pull back and look at the user interface of this whole meal again. How does it actually solve that dining out paradox? Is it just that it's healthy?
It's the combination of health plus speed. That breaks the paradox. See, usually healthy food is slow. You have to cook it yourself. Fast food is quick, but unhealthy. Lei Cha is kind of unique because it's assembly line food.
The soup is already made in a big pot. The toppings are pre-chopped in bins.
Exactly. You order, they scoop the rice, pile on the toppings, ladle the soup, and you're out the door. It competes with fast food on speed, but it competes with home cooking on nutrition.
That's the patch.
That's the patch. It fixes the bug where convenience equals death.
A bit grim, but yeah, accurate. It
Yeah.
fixes the bug where convenience equals poor health.
It's true, though. It finally aligns the incentives.
I want to circle back to the Part 114 thing. This is January 2026. This guy has been writing notes on dieting for a long, long time.
Which implies he's tested a lot of other things that just didn't make the cut.
Right. This isn't a day one discovery. This is a day 1000 stable release.
And that adds so much credibility. We live in a world of influencers who try a diet for 3 weeks, get abs from good lighting, and then sell you a PDF. Aang is just taking notes. Try this. It worked. Try that. Didn't work.
It's the scientific method applied to lunch.
And the tone is so unemotional. He doesn't say, this soup changed my soul. He says it offers a balanced nutritional profile. He appreciates its efficiency.
It's exactly how he would treat code. He's looking for the most elegant, resource-light solution to a problem. And here, he's doing it for his own metabolism.
I have a hunger requirement and a nutrient requirement. What's the most elegant code to solve for both? Lei Cha is the answer.
And he just shares it. Yours truly, Aang, open source.
It fits the whole ethos perfectly. He found a fix for a common bug, and he published the documentation.
Okay, I have to ask. Why do you think a software plumber, someone so focused on the modern digital world, connects so much with a dish that is literally centuries old?
That's the big irony, isn't it? We're always looking for new solutions, new supplements, new synthetic foods, but Lei Cha is old tech.
How old are we talking?
It goes way back to the Hakka migration. The Hakka people were historically migratory, guest families. They were always on the move, often into rough, less desirable lands. They couldn't carry a lot of perishable food. They had to forage.
So things like mugwort.
Were survival. They picked wild herbs, tea leaves, whatever they could find that had medicinal properties to keep them healthy on long journeys. They ground it into a paste, because that's easier to carry, and mixed it with rice for cheap energy.
It was the original MRE meal ready to eat.
It was survival food. High nutrient density, high energy, low cost. It literally kept them alive.
And now, in 2026, we're in a different kind of rugged environment. We're navigating a food swamp of processed garbage.
Exactly. The environment's changed, but the survival needs haven't. We still need antioxidants to fight stress. We still need fiber. The old Hakka solution is still the best patch for the modern bug.
It's like finding a piece of code from the 70s that's actually more secure than the brand new app you just downloaded.
Legacy code is often the most stable. It survived.
So if I'm listening to this and I want to try this standout choice, what should I expect? Honestly, we talked about the green.
Honestly, it can be an acquired taste. It is not a cheeseburger.
It's the bitterness, right?
It's the bitterness and the sheer herbal intensity. If your palate is used to sweet, salty, MSG-heavy food, Lei Cha is going to taste loud. It's got to taste like a garden.
Tasting like a garden is a very polite way of putting it.
Well, aromatic grass, maybe. But once you get past that initial shock, or once your palate recalibrates, you start to crave it. You start to associate that bitter, clean taste with how you feel after eating it.
The post-execution feeling.
Exactly. You don't feel heavy. You don't need a nap. You feel clear, energized. And for a knowledge worker like Aang, that mental clarity is worth the weird taste.
It's a functional feedback loop. I ate the green soup, and now I can code for 4 hours without brain fog.
Positive reinforcement. Your
Yeah.
body learns to love the bitter because it loves the result.
Okay, so we've deconstructed the soup, the solids, the rice, the whole philosophy. Lei Cha is basically a nutrient-dense algorithm for avoiding the fast food trap.
Very good summary.
But there's a bigger picture here. Aang looked at his diet like a project. He took notes, he iterated on it.
To take ownership,
That's it. He didn't just accept the default options, he looked for a workaround.
which is what we should all be doing, really. The default food environment isn't designed for your health. It's designed for profit, for shelf life. If you want to be healthy, you have to think like a hacker. You have to find the exploits.
And Lei Cha is an exploit.
A delicious, crunchy green exploit.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a final thought. We just spent all this time analyzing a traditional Hakka dish through the eyes of a software plumber.
A very unique lens.
But it makes me wonder, what other legacy code are we ignoring? Lei Cha is just one dish from one culture.
That's true.
Every single culture has these grandma recipes, things that take a long time to make or use weird ingredients or taste bitter or smell fermented, and we usually just skip right past them for the easy stuff.
We optimize for convenience and familiar flavors, and we lose the function.
So if we all put on our software plumber hats, where else should we be looking? Is there some fermented dish in Korea, or a bitter stew in West Africa, or a root vegetable match from the Andes that is the perfect patch for our modern health problems?
That's a great question. What other superfoods are hiding in plain sight, just disguised as peasant food?
Maybe the best new technology isn't in the future. Maybe it's buried in the archives.
I think Aang would probably agree with that.
I think he would. So next time you're staring at a menu paralyzed by that dining out paradox, maybe skip the safe choice. Look for the thing that seems a little too green, a little too complex, maybe even a little weird.
Run the experimental code.
Exactly. It might just be the update your system needs. Thanks for deep diving with us into the notes of kianmang.org.
See you next time.
Take care.